Wait, hold up. Kawhi Leonard just said what? I don't know, guys. We really gotta talk about this one because apparently Kawhi Leonard wants Greg Popovich to ease up on the practices, as well as he wants some tweaks to occur within the San Antonio Spurs organization. Yo, what is up, guys? It's me, Zachary. As always, thank you for coming back. Really appreciate it. And like I said, we gotta talk about this whole Kawhi Leonard thing, as well as some other things that are going on or are about to go on in the NBA. But first, do you guys see the shirt that I'm wearing? Do you see the flames that I am wearing on this shirt? And when you see me wearing this shirt, you think to yourself a couple of things. First off, where can I get some fire like that? And of course, links are always down in the description box below. But you're also thinking to yourself, wow, that shirt is clean. Look, it's so nice. It's simply Ben Simmons. That's it. No other logos, no other branding, just Ben Simmons. You look at it and it just screams NBA fan. It's different than wearing a jersey because you never know when someone's wearing a jersey if they're a real NBA fan or not, because they could just be wearing it for the fashion statement. You see this and you know it's fashionable, but yet it screams NBA fan. If you want to scream that you're an NBA fan, once again, to get a shirt like this, go to the link down in the description box below. They got this one plus many others. Anyways, though, like I was saying, we are now getting reports claiming that Kawhi Leonard is making demands to the San Antonio Spurs. And first off, this is where these reports are coming from. It was from a rival executive in the NBA, as he said this: from what I understand, he wants Popovich to lighten up with practice and tweak some things. The Spurs may not want to change the ways, but this is Kawhi Leonard that we're talking about. When I first heard this, I thought it was crazy because this doesn't really sound like Kawhi Leonard. From the very minute he has entered the NBA, he's been known as a workhorse, a gym rat, a guy who spends hours on top of hours perfecting his game, training, trying to get better. So when a rival executive comes out and says that Kawhi Leonard wants Greg Popovich to ease up on practices, he doesn't want to practice as much, it doesn't sound like something Kawhi Leonard would say. So when I first read this, I scoffed. I mean, just think about it. Kawhi Leonard trains with Kobe Bryant. How are you gonna train with Kobe Bryant and then complain about practicing too much? Those two things just don't add up. But then I thought about it. I thought about this for a second, remembering how Kawhi Leonard is suffering with a quad injury. He's been suffering with a quad injury this entire season, an injury that we still have no clue about how it happened. This isn't the same injury that was caused by Zaza Pachulia in the Western Conference Finals last year. This is completely unrelated. That was his ankle. This is his quad. This was just some phantom injury that occurred right before the preseason was about to start. When, where, and how it happened, we're still uncertain about that. And that's what got me thinking that maybe the reason behind these comments is because Kawhi Leonard was injured in a San Antonio Spurs practice. The injury was caused by some drill, or maybe he was practicing too much and that's why he wants Greg Popovich to ease up a little bit. I don't know. No one knows. This is me just trying to understand where exactly this is coming from. Overall though, if this is true and Kawhi Leonard is making demands like this, saying that Pop needs to ease up on practices as well as the organization needs to change things, if I'm San Antonio, I'm listening to his demands, and based on how reasonable they are, I'm making a decision from there. But here's the bottom line: I'm not completely changing up how we've been running things for the past 2 decades. Why? Because it's been proven to work for the past 2 decades. Kawhi is a phenomenal player, a surefire Hall of Famer, and may go down as one of the best to ever play the game at the rate he's on right now. But if it comes down to keeping him or keeping the overall culture the Spurs have spent the past 20 years developing, I'm choosing the culture. But this isn't the only thing that a report like this tells us. Is also a good thing for any Spurs fans who are hoping to keep Kawhi Leonard, because if this is true, it means that Kawhi Leonard hasn't completely given up on the San Antonio Spurs. He hasn't came out and demanded a trade. He's still willing to work with the organization as long as they're able to come to some sort of compromise. And overall, this just comes along with the territory of having a star player on the level of Kawhi Leonard. When you're at his level of eliteness in the NBA, you have the luxury of being able to go to the front office, go to the coach, go to whoever you want within the organization and talk about how you feel the team should be ran and if there are any changes that you'd like to see made. You see Devin Booker with the Phoenix Suns getting this type of treatment already, where the Suns openly came out and said that Devin Booker will play a part in every single major decision the Suns make as long as he's a part of the team. So if he has that benefit, you best to believe Kawhi Leonard should have the same benefit. So now it all just comes down to what kind of tweaks Kawhi Leonard wants to be made and how serious they are. Like I said, if it affects the overall culture that the Spurs have spent the past 20 years developing, you know, it probably just wasn't going to work out in the first place and it's time to move on from Kawhi and cut your losses. But if there's some minor things that don't change the overall culture that the San Antonio Spurs have built, listen to Kawhi and work with him on it. He's clearly willing to work with you still, so why not work with him? Anyways, remember, this is all assuming that rival executive in the NBA actually knows what he's talking about. So just keep that in mind. With the first round of the NBA playoffs winding down a little bit, a lot of people have already begun to look forward to round 2 conference semifinals. And one of the matchups that people are most looking forward to is the New Orleans Pelicans versus the Golden State Warriors. This matchup is drawing a heck of a lot of hype. This Pelicans team as a whole has really been garnering a heck of a lot of hype after the way they dominated the Portland Trailblazers in round 1. That was a matchup that was supposed to go the distance, go 6 or 7 games, and the Pelicans wind up just dismantling, embarrassing, demolishing, any word like that. They did that to the Portland Trailblazers. And that has people wondering, well, just how good is this New Orleans Pelicans team? Were the Blazers just choking? Were they just underperforming? Or are the Pelicans just as good as they looked in that first round? Well, you know, what better way to find out than to pair them against the Golden State Warriors? And you know, the more that you look, the more that I have looked at this series and the matchups in it, the more you start to realize that these two teams, assuming guys like Jrue Holiday, Rajon Rondo, and Nikola Mirotic play the same way they've been playing as of late, the more you realize these two teams could be headed towards a very long series. And depending on how much time Curry misses in the second round, you know, there is the possibility of an upset. Speaking of Curry though, we did get reports yesterday saying that Curry was able to participate in a full-fledged practice yesterday, but there is still no certainty that he will be available for game 1. And I think the Warriors might use game 1 tomorrow as sort of a feeler game, determine how much trouble they're in and make a decision on Steph Curry from there, whether or not they should let him rest up or if they need to bring him back right now. If they lose game 1 and Curry doesn't play, you best to believe he'll be playing for game 2. However, if they win game 1 without Curry and they win it by a comfortable margin where they feel like they can still win game 2 without him, he might rest up as long as he possibly can. But really, the reason why this series is going to be so interesting is because of two players. You got Kevin Durant and Anthony Davis, two of the most unguardable forces in the entire NBA and that the NBA has ever seen. Warriors clearly don't have an answer for Anthony Davis, and the Pelicans aren't going to have an answer for Kevin Durant either. You cannot expect E'Twaun Moore to be able to guard Kevin Durant. So it'll be interesting to see which one of those two players will be able to dominate the other team more. But while I'm sure Steve Kerr is worried about Anthony Davis, he's also worried a little bit about clean-shaven Nikola Mirotic. We threw out all 3 games of tapes prior to Mirotic's arrival. Those don't mean anything to us. Once he arrived, the whole team looked different, which is completely true. Ever since Nikola Mirotic got to the Pelicans, especially since he shaved his beard, this team has looked entirely different. They still haven't lost a single game since Nikola Mirotic shaved his beard. They've been undefeated with clean-shaven Nico, and one of those wins they got was over the Golden State Warriors in a game where Nico was great. He put up 28 points in that game, hitting 6 threes. In the playoffs, Mirotic has just been absolutely unbelievable, averaging 18 points, 10 rebounds, shooting 57% from the field and 46% from beyond the arc. The more and more I think about this Pelicans teams and the pieces that they have in their starting lineup, the more you might think that Steph Curry had better hurry up and come back ASAP, because without him, it might be kind of tough for the Golden State Warriors. You know what I'm trying to say? It might end up kind of tough for the Golden State Warriors if Steph Curry doesn't hurry up and get back onto the court. But I do only expect Steph to miss 1 game. I think for sure he'll be back by game 2. And with Steph, that might, you know, give the Warriors the advantage in this series, because while the New Orleans Pelicans might have been able to completely shut down Damian Lillard is no Stephen Curry. Those two players are not on the same level. Damian Lillard is a great point guard during the regular season, but he is no Stephen Curry. So the advantage will shift back to Golden State once he returns, unless Jrue Holiday can keep playing like a top 5 guard in the NBA. That man is dangerous if he keeps playing the way he was playing in round 1. And that is what both Rajon Rondo and Anthony Davis are hoping for as well. As when they were asked about the sudden increase of aggressiveness that Jrue Holiday has been showing on the court, this is what they had to say. I have no idea where that came from. Talking smack to the fans, I've never seen it. I love it, and if he can keep getting 40 for us, then I'll make him mad every game. It's just a different side of him. He's playing with a lot of rage. He's overlooked a lot. What he's doing now, the world is finally seeing the real Jrue Holiday, and I'm loving every minute of it. Holiday is putting up nearly 28 points and 6.5 assists per game, shooting ridiculous splits from the field. And it's just crazy overall how the entire NBA community, including myself, early in this season we're dogging on the Pelicans, we're making fun of the Pelicans, hashtag free AD, and now all of a sudden everyone's hyped up over the New Orleans Pelicans. We're all sitting here wondering just how big of a threat will they be to the Golden State Warriors, and I can't wait to find out. This is about to be one heck of a series, I'd imagine. And as expected, the Milwaukee Bucks defeated the Boston Celtics yesterday to force a Game 7 in this series. I don't think anyone expected anything less than for this game to go to 7 games after how the first 4 games ended with each team being able to take it on their home court. And after the game, all the players were talking about how excited they were for this Game 7. Giannis Antetokounmpo even went as far as to say that he doesn't even feel like the series has started yet until Game 7. And Marcus Morris, who took sort of a knee to the thigh in this one, said that he would have to have his leg completely cut off in order to keep him out of Game 7. And look, it's a good thing for the Celtics though that they will have home court advantage for the last game because, you know, they're just so banged up. Offensively, they do not have a lot of options. They strictly rely on their ball movement to try and set guys up with open shots. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, one day, maybe even as soon as next season, will both be much more reliable options in the offense, but they're just not at the stage yet where you can rely on them to carry the offense in the playoffs, and we've been seeing that throughout this series. For the Bucks though, they're still going to have to play nearly perfect basketball to get this one. Bledsoe is gonna have to do something because he's still been absolutely trash, and Giannis is going to have to dominate and assert himself as the best player in this series since the Celtics aren't going to back down whatsoever. They're going to give Milwaukee everything they have left, and this Game 7 will be a phenomenal test for Giannis and the Bucks. But that wraps up everything that we had to talk about from yesterday. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to smack that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on more daily NBA videos. Thank you once again for watching. I'll see all of you right back here tomorrow. But until then, keep getting the Bucks team SEC, and I'm out of here. Peace!